Yeah.
All right, we're live. So let me get the page links. Here it is. Loads. There you go. Let's share this baby.
I gotta delete one from my list. All right, here we go. It's lit.
Remember, we're live right now, so please no profanity. Let's keep that to a minimum, if any.
What's good? What's good? Gio, open us up. Start us out.
I'm currently sharing on Twitter. I'm sharing it first, and then we're starting.
Oh, we're still live?
Yeah, we're still live. I only went live to get the links.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, let me know when you guys are done sharing, and then we'll start right now.
I'm ready. Do the damn thing.
Justice shared. That's good. Bermuda, you're on your thing. Let me know when you guys are all set. I see you guys are still working over there.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm catching up on the world right now. Give me 1 second.
That's good.
My
It's
phone
good.
on vibrate. There we go.
Get your list ready, by the way.
My list. Are we doing this in order or just any 10? That's a
We're
crucial
doing it
question.
from 10 to 1. We're doing it from 10 to 1. And when the person says their list, they're going to go 10 to 1, explain why they put said project in that spot. And then the two people that don't have the list at the moment are going to debate that, and then that starts the arguments. So no need for the rundown when we got this going on.
All right, yo, let's start it up.
Oh wait. I didn't know we were doing them in order. You gotta give me 1 second to put my list in order.
No worries. I mean, we got to keep on sharing anyway, so it works out.
Alright.
All right.
All right, technical difficulties. While you do that, I'm grabbing a beer.
Okay, do that. You can do whatever you want. Fuck, I'm out of beer. You want a beer, come to my place. Oh, wait, you're in Boston.
Dude, there's so many good projects.
That's why it was tough to combine into mixtapes and albums because...
Oh, I hate Christian so much for doing that. That makes my job so hard.
Dude, it's like 5 o'clock and he says this. I'm thinking to myself, great, I have all these albums ready, and now I got to add mixtapes. And I had to switch like half of the whole entire list itself.
Because like, if you add mixtape, your Cushion OJ got to be on there.
Well, yeah. It's on my list.
All right.
All right, we all set now.
Yo, let's fucking run it.
Because we
Hold on, I'm still trying to put mine in order.
He'll do his thing. He'll do his thing, bro. He'll do his thing.
Wait, is that better than... Hold on. Let me
all right.
like this.
So while he does that, I guess we'll start it off, Bermuda, and then we'll do our thing first.
Cool.
All right. We're going to go officially live. 3, 2... What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the ATE podcast here, episode 4. Gio here once again hosting, and I'm joined by my fellow ATE counterparts, Justice and Bermuda, a.k.a. Dibs, a.k.a. Christian. What's up, guys?
Yo. What's going on? Should be a good podcast this week. Super excited for it. And
What's up, guys?
it's a tough podcast. This is tough.
Why is it tough? Why don't you tell the public why it's so
Well,
difficult?
because Christian ruined everything.
There's so much available music and so many different artists out there, and you can't get to everything. You can't listen to everything. Over the past 6 years, there has been so much content that has come out, and so to pick top 10 out of all of this, it's really hard to rank. I mean, to say that this was better than that. I mean, now, the way that I did it was I just picked the 10 that I liked, and then as far as specific order, like that's something I'm still having trouble with in my mind. I have a lot of honorable mentions, but I mean, it's tough with any music to pick a top 10.
Now, what he's talking about is this week's podcast topic is we're going to debate the top 10 rap projects of the 2010 decade. So that's going to range from any mixtape or album from 2010 to now. And the idea of the podcast this week is each person's going to list their top 10 from 10 to 1 with some honorable mentions, of course, and then explain why they put said project in said spot. And then the two people that don't have the list up at the moment are going to debate why they disagree or agree with person's statement. And originally it was going to be just albums, but a certain somebody here decided 3 hours before to make it a combined mixtape and album because he quote-unquote doesn't listen to albums. So Justice and myself had lists ready to go, and then all of a sudden we had to scrap that for at least 3 hours before. So since you decided to be that guy, Dibs, how about you start us off with your list first?
All right. So, I mean, no, that's not. I mean, let's just talk about that for a second before we fucking thing. Let's just have a conversation about that. In today's day and age, is really tough to determine sometimes when an artist puts out a project. Is it actually their album or is it actually their mixtape? Especially with streaming services now. Okay, you have Views just hit 1 billion streams. Okay, cool. Pablo hit 250 mil. I mean, even during at certain points in Drake's career, he's released a project and you weren't sure. Like he kind of put it out as a mixtape, but then he said to his label that it was an album. I mean, that's one specific example, but there's a lot of other things where, like, was it a mixtape? Was it an album? So I just figured we'd make it a little bit easier and just say project. What are the top 10 projects that you like over the past 6 years? And see what people come up with. So without further ado, here's my top 10. I actually didn't do it in a specific order because that's my fault. But here we go. So I got the first one that I'll name.
Because I don't have a good order.
Yeah. The first one I'm gonna name is Days Before Rodeo, by Travis Scott, because the production on that whole entire album was on the next level. His Kid Cudi influence comes through in that album. You really feel it. The Kanye influence is there, and a wide array, like a huge, like he has those hard bangers, and then he kind of has those songs that seem to go on for 5 or 6 minutes, and there's so many different intricacies and melodies and things going on. I think overall that project was the moment where I was like, yo, Travis is really the man. I mean, I listened to Owl Pharaoh, which was before that, and I was a huge fan. But when this came out, that like set it in stone for me. Second on the list, 1999 mixtape by Joey Badass. That kid took the scene by storm. At the age of 17, the lyrical wordplay that he was bringing. I mean, I saw him as the new age Nas. You know, the old school vibes, new school cat. Music videos were crazy, but he also had like that whole pro era movement, and he embodied that mixtape beautifully. Third on the list, this one I was a little shaky about, but I loved it, and I was still a fan. Was same guy, Joey Badass, Before the Dollar Sign, his album. That album was up there for me as a top 10 in the past 6 years because more of the same for me, and I'm just a huge fan of that guy, so I think I'm a little biased with that pick, and that one up for debate, and I'm here to argue that one. If you guys want to,
gets 2 spots on your top 10. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, why is it? I mean, that's cool. We could talk about it, or I can keep going.
I mean,
keep going.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised that like out of everything that's come out, like you really got him. You got him.
Yeah.
He gets 2 spots. Like that's impressive, you know.
Okay. Fourth is Bad Meets Evil, released in 2011.
Okay.
Eminem and Royce the 5'9". I mean, not much has to be said about that duo and that combo. They've been friends for years, and some of the things that they could do. My favorite part about that album is how seamlessly they can go back and forth, transitioning bar for bar. You know, they weave into each other with their vocals, and they really killed that whole entire tape. Fifth on the list, Section 80, Kendrick Lamar. That was a game-changing project for him and his career. And I think that, you know, everybody knows that as a classic for Kendrick. I also put Good Kid, Mad City on there as the 6th one because that album was, I mean,
Wow.
how do you really embody that album? It was one of my favorite projects that has been out, and I think it was the album of 2015, and a lot of people would agree with me on that one. 7th is DC2, Dream Chasers 2 by Meek Mill. A lot of people, Meek Mill, forget about it, get out of here. But that guy was
I'm saying it.
He was running the game for 2-3 years, especially when I was like a freshman in college. A lot of people would be like, "Why didn't you pick Dream Chasers 1? That was better than DC2." But I have to disagree. I think the production quality was a little bit better on the second album, and he came harder with it, and so I got that on there. Next up is Detroit by Big Sean. That was a great mixtape. And also I got Friday Night Lights on there by J. Cole.
Good man.
And then to finish it off, last but not least, was Drake's If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. Because that was a complete project for me. That was a full, entire project. Like, I was kind of at the point where I really didn't like Drake too much. But then, he had a lot of hits. He's always had hits throughout his entire career. But it kind of solidified me as like, why do I not like this guy? This is a good project. So yeah, that's my top 10.
I have to ask you though. Joey Badass has 2 spots on there.
First of all, Joey Badass has 2 spots and Meek Mill has 1. I don't know what you like.
Yeah,
dude, everything that's come out in the last 6 years, I can't believe Meek Mill even comes close to your top 10. That's shocking.
Explain yourself.
You're upset that he's in the top 10, you said?
I just can't believe he's not like you're putting essentially what you're saying is Dream Chasers 2 is like better than Habits and Contradictions by Schoolboy.
I didn't even think of that one, but okay, no, but
that's what you're saying essentially.
The rundown.
That is what I'm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To me, that's just craziness. That's just crazy talk. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, okay, it's a little bit of like that mainstream feel, and a lot of people don't like that, but A1 everything, straight like that, every day, ready or not, face down, lean with it, bro. He had a lot, racked up shawty. He just, for me, it was like those bangers that I could listen to, and I'm a huge instrumental fan. I think that's another reason why I lean towards that tape. I choose somebody who has fire instrumentals. Like 55% of it for me is the production, the instrumentals, and the 45% is the flow, the lyrics, the way that you come at it. And that whole tape had incredible instrumentals, and so that's why I lean to it. That was that type of tape when I was studying. I listened to it when I could have gone Wale Ambition, or I could have gone a lot of different.
Could have gone Wale Ambition over Meek Mill, in my opinion.
You could have gone a lot of things over Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Look, it's true, but that's why we do this. It's personal opinion.
Lloyd Banks.
That's my pick.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's the beauty about making a combined project, because there are so many things we can forget, but there are so many things that deserve to be in the same light as what we're talking about. Like, I agree, Dream Chasers 2 is a great album, but in my opinion, there are a lot of projects that could have replaced it in this list, but it's your opinion, and that's why it's.
Yeah, I want to know what our other AT members think about that Meek Mill choice.
I'll say this.
Find out later. But if
I were to replace DC2 with something, I would pick King Los, The Crown Ain't Safe mixtape. That would be.
See, Justice loves King Los, so you had to say that to save yourself.
No, it had nothing to do with Justice.
That's an interesting pick. That
had nothing to do with Justice. He introduced me to King Los. This is true, but
yes, I did.
I've been a fan. I've been a really fan of that guy. I mean, since the day. So, if I were to replace DC2, that would be my next pick. That would be next in line.
Okay, well now we got Bermuda's list out of the way, and we're pretty much in consensus that Meek Mill should not be on there.
Makes no sense.
Justice, would you want to go next, or is your list not ready yet?
My list is ready, man. I gotta kill a list, bro. This is
All
the
right,
Let's
hardest thing
go,
I've
bring
had
it,
to do
bro.
this
I got
year.
honorable mentions as well, but
Yeah, all right. I got.
Yo, oh, I
All right, let
fucking
me give
forgot.
you the list. Number one on the list. This is the only one that I'm ranking. This is number one. Section 80. Actually, this whole list should be just the songs on Section 80. But
thank you, thank
we're
you.
not gonna get there. We're not gonna like number one on this list should be like High Power, and then like Rigor Mortis number two, and then but it's Section 80 is number one. Okay. Now at number two, this is this, and then from this point on, nothing's in order. This is the shout out of the list. I got Acid Rap took over.
Okay.
That's a classic in my mind.
That's
Honestly,
a
Acid Rap
global. Doesn't matter where you're from in the world. People listen to that globally, dude.
Well, according to you, Acid Rap's not. Meek Mill's Dream Chaser 2 is better, so we won't.
All right, you can that.
But we won't go there. We won't go there. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's fine. It's everybody's opinion. Okay. Number three, I have Control System by Absol.
Ooh.
That is one of my all-time favorite projects. The politics, the gangster rap, the smoking rap, the drug references, everything was perfect on that album. The production was amazing. Oh, that was a true classic to me. I think that album, honestly, is almost as good as Section 80, and that's really saying something because to me, it's one of those really deep albums that I love to dive into whenever I want to think about something. After that, I have another TDE member. I got Isaiah Rashad's Sylvia demo. That album to me is I don't even know how to say other than like it's just one of the realest albums I've ever heard in the way it's just the way he's talking about everyday life. There's no gangbanging, there's no strippers, it's just him just talking about how he's a working class man, and I can relate to that because I know what it's like to be a young man in America, like a young black man in America, and that's what he's rapping about on the album. He's just rapping about his experiences, and I relate to it a lot. Number five, I got that J. Cole Forest Hill Drive. I think it's J. Cole's best project since the warm up and the come up back in the day. So I gotta have the Forest Hill Drive on that. This number six album is, I don't know if any of you guys have heard this, but this is the Nas and Damian Marley Distant Relatives album.
Yes, I've heard
the blend of rap and reggae on that album is borderline perfection. And the features like Josh Stone and Talib Kweli and Common and even Lil Wayne's verse was amazing. Every song on that album, front to back, is just great quality music. Oh my gosh, I love that album. That album, I think, is the number one album played on my iTunes. I think I played that album more than anything else. Oh, maybe Food and Liquor. Food and Liquor might be played more.
Bro, that's the. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. I'm just looking at the track.
All right, and then at the number 7 spot, I gotta get that boy Kanye on there. My Dark Twisted Beautiful Fantasy is a masterpiece of a project. The instrumentals, the production,
somebody mentioned that.
Literally, I think that project is like a 10 out of 10.
It is.
Every single song there is a masterpiece to me. The interludes are melodic. Everything, the way he presented the album with the Good Fridays coming up to it was presented perfectly. That 45-minute video he did with the songs that he had on the album was well done, well scripted. I love everything about the album. I love the lyricism. I know there are a couple of questionable songs, but those questionable songs have feature artists that I'm also big fans of, so I enjoyed every bit of it.
That project within itself pushed the whole envelope for rap and artists at that time.
Yes, it was a revolutionary project.
It was coming out of this age of Southern rap, real simple shit, simple stuff, D4L, crank that, whatever. And then he comes out with this project. Not only are the visuals on point and the fashion on point, but the instrumentals are production's kind of not like what we've been used to. And that project within itself kind of started to shift the game, and then he came out with 808 and Heartbreak after that. And, before that, you're right. No, but just that whole
with 808s, he changed the game as well because back in the day, nobody was really singing when he dropped that album. he drops 808s, and then the first person to come out of that was Kid Cudi. He was the first guy to really come out of that post 808s 808s and Heartbreak era with his rapping and singing. And then Drake comes along, and then all of a sudden he goes to this My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, where every song is like an orchestra in a song. The songs are like 6-minute instrumentals. The lyrics are funny.
Put Rihanna, Raekwon, and Justin Bieber on. Like, Raekwon got a song with Justin Bieber because of that. Like, what? Because of the promos to the album. He has Rihanna and Elton John on the same song. Rihanna and Elton John. That is what you call magic. Musical magic. I love that album. I think that album is amazing.
The pictures on that album, the whole entire display of it, because I have the vinyl. And the display of the vinyl with the records, it's like a beautiful design. Like even the product itself is beautiful, the way it's presented.
Yeah, exactly. But it's okay because Meek Mill's Dream Chase is better than that, obviously.
You're never gonna live this down, Bermuda.
Meek Mill's Dream Chase is better than that. All right, at the number 8 spot, I got Take Care by Drake.
There we go.
That's Drake's best project. It's my favorite by him. I listen to that project more than any other Drake project because, honestly, at the time of my life, I was going through some shit too. I ain't gonna lie. It hit the heart. And then number 9, Good AM, Mac Miller.
Wow, yeah.
This Mac Miller project, the most recent one, is one of my favorite projects to come out recently. It is. I can play it front through back, never disappointing. It never goes too slow. It never gets too fast. It's like the perfect project just for like car rides and just to chill around the house and bump. I love it.
And you rate that higher than Best Day Ever?
What'd you say?
I say you rate that higher than Best Day Ever? You think that's better than Best Day Ever?
I think this is a better project, without a doubt. I think Best Day Ever is his third best. I like this one the most, Watching Movies, and Best Day Ever.
Okay.
Macadelic, though. That was the mixtape that propelled him to this weird type of style, you know? I love that.
That one I think I think Kids is better than that. Better than Macadelic, honestly.
That's fair enough, because Kid was great, too.
But I think Best Day Ever, Watching Movies, and Good AM are all better than Kids, though. Just because he's more mature, the things he's rapping about, I relate to him a little bit better than that.
As long as you don't say Blue Slide Park, you're fine.
Oh, God, no. But even that was better than Dream Chasers. Let me stop.
Let's bump through this fucking computer, bro. Now what? So I get the L because I mentioned Meek Mill. Jesus Christ.
Honestly, though,
and then to round out my top 10, I gotta get the classic mixtape in there. Wiz Khalifa, Cushion OJ.
Yeah.
Production, rap, smooth. It was honestly one of the smoothest hippie albums to come out ever in the rap industry. Gotta love it. And this honorable mention is a rare one. I got 2 honorable mentions, actually. Honorable mention number 1 is Lloyd Banks' Cold Corner 2. If you ever want to hear bars back to back to back to back to back in your face for 12 songs straight, you listen to Little Lloyd Banks, you get the Cold Corner 2 on, you go gangster real quick. And
it's true, though.
My other honorable mention goes to Anderson .Paak this year on dropping Malibu. That project was beautiful. It was beauty at its finest, and I listened to it literally every single day.
What's it called? I've never heard of it. I've never heard of
Malibu.
Malibu.
It's fantastic.
Anderson .Paak, one of the people who've been working with Kendrick and Dr. Dre on their recent productions, and he just dropped the first project this year.
He also worked with Chance on Coloring Book as well.
Oh, yeah, he worked on Chance with Coloring Book as well. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. And this project he did, Coloring, and Malibu, man. Ooh, it is a gem. It is an absolute gem.
All right, I mean,
that's
honestly,
my list.
I love all your picks. I really can't debate against any of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm up next. I mean, Bermuda, you got any rebuttals? I hope there's no Meek Mill.
No, that was a good list. A lot of the things that Justice picked, I wanted to pick, but I just didn't have room because I had Meek Mill in there.
Yeah, because you had Meek Mill.
Because you had Meek Mill. It's okay.
This podcast should be named Episode 4. Why Dibs
You're
chose
start banging to Meek Mill if you don't hurry up.
All right, well, since we're gonna be quick here, I'm gonna do my list and then I guess we'll just finish it up because we're on a 45-minute podcast today. But before I start my list, I'm gonna go honorable mentions and then 10 to 1. So my first honorable mention here is Danny Brown's Old. Now,
Wow.
I love that album.
Wow.
What? You don't like it?
I love that project.
I was going to say, because that was the epitome of Danny Brown. When I first heard Triple X, I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty good. And then this album comes out, and it's a fusion of both the Danny Brown we know and this other persona where he actually raps in his own voice and not that high-pitched voice, and it's just fantastic work. I love how he's got split personas. It's different. I love stuff like that. Second honorable mention, The Weeknd, House of Balloons. That was the mixtape that got him.
That should have been on my honorable mentions.
Nobody even knew what he looked like when he released that mixtape because he was an online sensation. He was dropping that. He dropped that. He dropped Thursday as well as a mixtape. But that House of Balloons was the mixtape that got me into The Weeknd.
House of Balloons.
Fantastic work.
Play that as soon as we're done with this.
And then my last honorable mention for this one, I think just as I like this one, my pick is Lupe Fiasco's Friend of the People, I Fight Evil.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Fantastic. Lupe talking politics, I can listen to him all day on that. And one of my favorite songs, Double Burger with Cheese. No words needed for that.
I'm going to be very honest with you, though. That might be the one Lupe project I dislike the most.
Oh, why is that?
I just don't think it was as quality as his other ones. Honestly. And you're talking to, maybe the biggest Lupe fan.
I know, it's why I want to hear
on this side of the East Coast. It's honestly my least favorite Lupe project. Which is interesting that you put it in your honorable mentions. I really didn't, I don't know. It wasn't what I was looking for on that project. I haven't listened to it in a while for that reason as well.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's an album mention for a reason, but I just love the way
it was amazing, but the production and the way it was presented was just...
It was meh. I mean, I could have put Tetsuo and Youth as a replacement, but I just feel like that mixtape had a lot of meaning to it. It was more of Lupe really attacking, lyrically. Yeah. But anyways, to my list. Number 10, Future, 56 Nights. Now, with this mixtape, this was the year where Future was untouchable, 2015. He had the mixtape every other month, had Beast Mode, he had Dirty Sprite 2 as the album, and this mixtape was my favorite one to come out of that year because every single beat slaps. I can't not turn up when I hear Me No Compadre. That song gets you going. Like the way this Me No Compadre, like that, you can't explain it. He was on a whole nother level, and the fact that Esco was in jail for 56 days and it made sense.
The story behind it.
The thing is, Future's impact on the game in 2015 cannot be contested, and I feel like that mixtape was the epitome of that year for Future. Number 9, stay on mixtapes, Mac Miller's Faces. Now, I remember you mentioned watching movies, Good AM, but this mixtape, I think, is the perfect Mac Miller project from start to finish because it was depressing, it was a ton of songs, and it just showed Mac Miller in a new light. Even though Macadelic was the first view of Mac with drugs and watching movies was Mac really entering a low point, Faces was really digging deep into Mac's stardom because there was one song in there called Happy Birthday where he talks about not being able to celebrate his birthday with his family, never being with people he loved. He was always alone. He was famous, but he never really felt famous. I love stuff like that because it's really showing the vulnerability of the rapper that people always think, oh, it's money, cars, women. But Mac on Faces really showed that even though a mixtape is a mixtape, you can make it sound like an album.
Yeah.
Number 8, Acid Rap, Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
Listen, nobody, I don't know anybody who hates that mixtape. That is a straight classic. You've already mentioned it. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I mean, it gave us Coloring Book. It showed the evolution of Chance the Rapper. Fantastic. Number 7, Drake, Take Care. I was in the same situation when that album came out. I was going through a rough time in my life. Fall semester 2011. That album got me through a lot. Over My Dead Body is my favorite Drake song. That's the ultimate Drake. And I mean, Views was kind of like Take Care, but at the same time, nothing can top this album for me. Plus, features by Kendrick Lamar on the weekend and Andre 3000. You can't go wrong with that.
Can never go wrong with that.
No. And feel free to chime in when you guys have an argument. Please do. But number 6, Yeezus. Here's where it might get a little bit interesting for you guys. Hear me out. I know Kanye West is not the lyricist of his generation, but this album was the epitome of a production masterpiece to me. If you listen to all the production on this album and not the lyrics, you would understand why I would call Kanye arguably a top 5 producer of all time. His ability to sample and experiment with all these new styles and always change the landscape of hip-hop with every album he does. He's daring to go the extra mile. And with Yeezus, he combined Daft Punk, Def Grips, Bon Iver, Chief Keef, and Ponderosa Twins, which are, I think, were an old 60s or 70s quintuplet of singers, and turned all these samples and artists into one project which actually sounded good. Minus the lyrics, this production really shows the landscape of how far people like Travis Scott have come because of that album. Even though Travis Scott worked with Kanye on Yeezus, you could see how this album has inspired production recently.
Now, I know No ID and Daft Punk were a part of that too. Like
yeah.
They were. Honestly, dude, I like Yeezus. I don't know why everybody hated Yeezus. I thought Yeezus.
That's why I'm saying it was ahead of its time for me.
Yeah, I thought Yeezus was great. I was like, yeah, there's only like one song I don't like on it. There's like one song I think I didn't like on Yeezus. I think it might have been the intro.
And it's just that, bro. It was just a time where he was doing what he always does, push the envelope, and people get uncomfortable with that. But that's why he does it. The production was good on that. I can't fight it. And you already touched on the lyrics not being the greatest. So
the one thing I can knock about it as well, minus the lyrical stuff, is his message, because it felt like Kanye wanted to say something important and really speak his mind about something, but never really was able to get himself to do it. Perfect example was Black Skinhead. That beat is a perfect mosh pit anthem for any rap concert or anything. But the lyrics, he's contradicting himself because he's talking about how every other word is black. And, like, you know, he says his verse and then black, verse, black. And I feel like he's afraid to really say something because he doesn't want to push the boundaries too much and get in too much trouble. But at the same time, you can tell he really wants to go darker on the album and say something. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I mean, he called himself a god on the album. He talked about, you know, new slaves, and he put it up on the sides of buildings. I mean, I don't think that he was scared or in any sense. I don't think that he was holding back.
Justice?
Honestly, like I said, I'm a big fan of the album. I thought the message of the album was an interesting message, but it wasn't necessarily the right way to display that message. And that's why I think a lot of people were against the album. But once again, I'm a big fan of it, so I'm not going to complain about you having that in your top.
Yeah, I'm just really nitpicking here. I love Yeezus. I still listen to it today. But on with the list at number 5, the halfway mark, I got J. Cole's Friday Night Lights. This is a mixtape that got me into Cole officially. I heard about him when he had to come up in the warm-up. But I remember high school. I forgot what year it was. I think it was junior year where this dropped. And I remember Mills showed me this mixtape. He's like, you got to check this guy out, J. Cole, Friday Night Lights. Listen to it. And it got me hooked on Cole. Because this was Cole's first classic.
Wait, the warm-up and the come-up, bro? You're not counting those as classics?
Bro.
I don't. Compared to Friday Night Lights, I can't.
Bro.
The warm-up is... if you're not going to come up, the warm-up is definitely one of his first classic. I mean...
The warm-up is unreal.
I'm looking at the track list. 30 tracks. Lights, Please, Dead Presidents 2, Dreams.
Dead Presidents 2, Dead Presidents 2.
In my opinion, Friday Night Lights was the mixtape that made him a star. And there are as many classic tracks on that mixtape as the warm-up. You can argue like which one's better, but I gotta
No.
because of my personal experience with it.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Like,
Cool.
Too Deep for the intro with that Erykah Badu sample, I mean, come on. That's easily one of my favorite productions by Cole.
I love Higher. I love Blow Up on that tape, bro. In the morning. In the morning.
Two-Face,
Looking for Trouble.
Premeditated Murder,
Yeah,
Home
Premeditated
for the Holidays.
Best Friend. That was a good track.
Exactly. Like there are so many good tracks on that mixtape. But before we get sideswiped, staying with Cole, number 4, 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Okay.
I think the first classic Cole album we have here. It's just Cole's homecoming. He's got two sides of the story, from going from Fayetteville to Hollywood, going back home, the homecoming, blah, blah, blah. Already covered it. It's a great album. Number 3, my boy Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City. I don't think anybody can disagree. This is one of the best projects of the whole entire decade when it's all said and done. I mean, there are no words to describe it. The production's fantastic. Kendrick's ability finally comes to fruition. He finally, becomes Kendrick we expected when we heard Section 80 and Overly Dedicated. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, number 2, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West. This album is everything I wanted in a revolutionary hip-hop album, and then some. Plus, like I said, I love the way it's designed. So we already covered most of that, why we think it's a great album. But number 1, I'm surprised none of you said this, To Pimp a Butterfly. This album is perfect. I knew you were
going to pick it. I knew you were going to go for this one. All right, let's hear it. Yeah.
All right, let's hear this.
As a Joey Badass fan through and through, I am a Kendrick stan. But the reason why I picked To Pimp a Butterfly number 1, it is literally the most perfect, thought-out album I've heard this decade. Even over the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because this album took a Tupac sample from a Swedish interview before he passed away and related it to the album. This whole entire time you're hearing To Pimp a Butterfly, you hear these, I Remember You Was Conflicted. This whole entire poem, excerpts from every single part at the end of each song, you're thinking, okay, it's a poem. What's it relating to? None of you, nobody, not even myself, expected this to relate to a Tupac interview that was sampled from a Swedish interview before he passed away. It's perfectly put. All the topics about him, avoiding Lucy being the devil, trying to sell a soul, just like J. Cole. He comes home back to Compton to help out his friends because it's noted he wasn't there for when his friend got shot a few years ago. That's covered in You. You, arguably the best song of the decade as well. I really I don't have any flaws for this. Hot 97 called this a classic when it first dropped. Pitchfork said the same thing. People were rating it 5 out of 5 stars on its first week's release.
I'm not disagreeing with you. My only problem with To Pimp a Butterfly,
Justice, man. Turn the light
it's so
on, bro.
deep that it's not something I can bump all the time.
Which is fair. But me being the guy to listen to deep rap, I cannot get tired of this.
And I think this is the Kendrick that wanted to come out when he was 16 years old. This is that poetic Kendrick that's always been there. I mean, I know you're into poetry, Gio, and so that probably strikes home even harder with you. And the jazz influence, I think it's he brought the culture from Compton and his neighborhood and his family out in this album, and he wanted to do that in earlier albums, but he kind of had to solidify himself in the game first and show everybody what he can do and what he's about and what his capabilities are, and test some things out and try some things out. And then once he did that and achieved all that and got the best album of the year and did all these things, best up-and-coming artist and all that stuff, Freshman XXL, once he did all of that and had all those accolades, then he had time to really do what he wanted to do. And I think that this is one of those things that was in the back of his head, just waiting there to be brought out, and he did it, and he perfected it.
And think about it this way, though. You mentioned this, how he wanted to really do this the whole entire time, and you can tell he really had the...
He's been influenced a little bit here and there.
But even by doing it against the standards he wanted to with Section 80, Overly Dedicated, Good Kid, Mad City, he was still dropping classics without even going to the roots he wanted to go to. That's how good of a rapper Kendrick is. He's able to adapt to any type of style and make it his own.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see Kendrick. Now, we're about done here with the podcast. Surprisingly went by quick in my opinion.
Wow.
But before we go, do you guys see any artists in the next 4 years dropping any albums or mixtapes that are going to be better than what we listed? And if so, which rapper do you think has the most likely chance to drop that future classic?
You already know who I'm gonna say, dude. You already know I'm gonna say
All
Joey
right,
Badass.
well,
He
why-
just put out a
Joey,
song called
okay, Joey could do it. Yeah, Joey could do it without a doubt.
Justice, turn the light on in wherever you are, bro. All I see is his like glasses.
Yeah, you went from really...
You're like Darth Vader out here,
Yeah,
bro.
like...
Oh.
Yo, why... Are you in the
I didn't
closet?
even realize, honestly, I honestly,
in the closet.
DC too. Fuck out of here.
I honestly didn't even realize like the light had got faded. Like I totally didn't even like I was so like listening to you guys like I wasn't even paying attention. And I told you I can't see you.
So let's bring it back. So what do you? So yeah. So I say Joey without a doubt. I think he's gonna drop something that's gonna be.
Yeah, Joey definitely could. Definitely Joey. Isaiah Rashad and Absol, both of them could hit that next project could be that one that everybody was waiting for.
Mick
Without a
Jenkins,
doubt.
bro. Why is nobody mentioning Mick Jenkins?
I think
He hasn't proved he's on that level yet. I'm gonna tell you who.
Waters, though,
Vic
is a
Mensa.
great mixtape.
Vic Mensa could drop a project that'll blow your mind.
Dropping one tomorrow, actually.
What?
Is he?
Yeah. You didn't
What?
hear about this?
No.
He dropped a song today, and then he's dropping a mixtape tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow?
See, I would originally say that after hearing Internet Tape, but lately he's been so... I don't know. I feel like he's lost in his own way because he doesn't know where to go with his style. Because he had you mad with Kanye.
It's like we're gonna find out tomorrow. So
Yeah, that's the only way we're gonna find out. But
I'll give you a controversial pick, but at this very moment, in this time, on 2016 June 3rd, I'm really feeling this artist, and I think that his future is pretty bright. He's a young kid, but he's pushing the envelope and he's changing his style. He's kind of like he wants to be a rock star, but he's still in a rap. But he sings and he's got crazy instrumentals, man. Lil Uzi Vert. A lot of people will be like, "Why you pick this guy?" But I think it's the fact that he's so naturally different. He's not like a young.
You gotta send me a project. I haven't heard of him.
Never heard of
I
him?
can see that happening. Lil Uzi Vert versus the World is the project for you, Justice. That's the one you gotta listen to by him.
I
Is
think.
that
I think
you gotta send that to me.
I will. I'll send it to you. And
Wait.
the reason why I say that is because he's naturally gravitating himself. He's just moving in a different direction that is so separated from what we hear in rap right now. I mean, he doesn't sound like Future, in my opinion. He doesn't sound like Thug. But yet he's going down that lane and nobody's really following him. And his favorite artists are like Marilyn Manson. His favorite artists are like all these hardcore heavy metal rock bands. It's not like rap. So that's super interesting for me, and I think I'll give him a chance because he's got that creative mind just like somebody like a Kanye or somebody like that. So he has potential, in my opinion.
Justice, any more people you can think of?
Anybody else with crazy potential? Oh, the two that we're all waiting for. Obviously, I'm gonna throw them a little shout out. Jay Electronica, whenever you want to release that album.
I know.
I was like, that little great verse, that little tease of a verse you gave us on Coloring Book was beautiful. Be great if you could drop an album. And I'm still waiting on this Andre 3000 solo project.
Frank Ocean. I think it's gonna happen before 2020.
Yo, supposedly he's not even working on his album yet.
Supposedly he didn't even start it.
Yeah, supposedly he didn't even start working on his album.
Listen,
So I don't know what's good with that, man.
All I know is the verse on Wolves on The Life of Pablo made me cry of happiness, but that's the last and first thing I'll hear from Frank Ocean in this year. Sadly, it's the truth. We're not going to get Frank Ocean for a while, but I think it drops before the decade ends, and when it does, it will be promising.
Yeah, who else am I thinking of that could...
I don't know if it will ever be a classic, and I don't know if it'll ever be popular and mainstream. But one of those artists that a lot of people just disregard or throw under the rug is Hobson, and I love his stuff. I love his
Man, it's
I was
garbage.
thinking about Hobson, but I
That
don't
man is garbage. Yo, he's honestly garbage.
He's garbage.
He's honestly trash. Yo,
Why?
I know exactly what you're gonna tell me. Yo, you gotta go listen to Illmatic Hobson. Yo, every Hobson fan says the same 5 songs. He's got 5 songs, like 7 mixtapes and 5 songs worth of quality.
But if you listen to his projects full the way through, you'll actually.
Yo, I'm so serious. I'm listening to like 4 of them all the way through. Everybody's ever hyped up. Yo, he literally has 5 to 7 songs that are honestly phenomenal, like out of this world phenomenal. So I understand why you people ride him so hard. But other than that, everything else is gobbo. He just hit the lottery like a couple times and got really good. But that's about it. Like, I don't know.
My computer disconnected me because you were talking so much trash.
I'm not even talking trash. I'm so serious.
No, and that's the thing.
Yo, for every Hobson song you show me, I'll show you a project 3 times better than him. I can put myself 3 times better than him. And I'll do it all day.
I'll tell you why I like him real quick. I understand that he's not all around the greatest artist. I think it's just that he is so aware of his situation and how things work behind the scenes in the music industry, and he's not afraid to expose it. He's not afraid to talk about it.
There's plenty of other artists who've done that.
Yeah,
Lil Baby been speaking the truth since 07.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
He's not garbage, though.
No, he's not garbage.
Yeah, we'll play the real, yo. I can't even front with that one.
I can go through a litany of artists, from Immortal Technique to Odyssey to LA to Darkman. I can go through a bunch of guys who let you know how the industry really is, tell you how everything really goes. They're just not trash like Hobson. I'm talking guys with consistent flame lyrics every project they put out.
I respect your opinion.
Hot songs.
Like A$AP Rock.
Yeah. Hobson is Garbo. He's don't put him in the Garbo pile.
Well,
Overhyped, overmatched. Yo, you put him up against anybody who actually got some talent, bro, he'll get outdone. That's why he got no good features. That's why he has no good features on any of his songs.
I'm not saying he's gonna have a top 10 project. I was just saying that I think he's got some talent and he's in a different spot.
He got some potential. Dizzy Wright could put out something that blows everybody's mind real quick. You never know what you're gonna. Dizzy Wright is nice.
Where's he been recently?
Bro, he's been on the indie scene, just dropping mad mixtapes on the low.
Yeah.
We could always get a classic from Currency. You never know when Currency's ready to hit you with something you're just not ready for.
Something new, like as of recent, I think.
I think Freddie Gibbs can do something in a few minutes.
Gibbs, yeah, well, we haven't heard from him in a while. And I want to put an honorable mention out there to an album that's not really a rap album, but I got to put it out there. Pharrell Williams' Girl was one of the best albums to come out in the last 5 years.
I haven't listened to it, bro. I never heard that.
You got to listen to the whole album, not just the song Happy. Listen to the whole album. Honestly, Happy's a classic.
I have to give that a listen.
But Pharrell Williams' album Girl is beautiful. It's a beauty. It's just not a rap album, so I really didn't put it in that same category.
Real quick, why does Eminem not make the list for everybody? Why did Recovery and Marshall Mathers?
He hasn't put out. Only thing that came out since 2010 is Recovery and Marshall Mathers LP 2, right?
Yeah. Those
Relapse came out in 09.
Which is fine. You guys didn't put them on the list. I'm just saying, why do you feel?
The reason why
I honestly didn't put them on the list because we only did 10 and not 20.
Facts. Okay.
All right. Here's the reason why I didn't put Eminem on the list. His last 2 projects sucked. I'm sorry. I didn't like them.
Whoa,
I didn't think.
Whoa, Marshall Mathers LP 2 was nice. He spit crazy bars on that.
The thing is,
when you say suck,
with every great song he had, there was a terrible song that followed it. Like Stronger Than I Was is a terrible song. There was no need for that to be on the album.
Okay, and Recovery, he's got a litany of bangers.
He screams.
Recovery is his most underrated piece of work ever. You can listen to Recovery running through right now. It'll be the hardest stuff you've heard. What?
Relapse is more underrated, yo. People hate Relapse, but that's vintage.
I mean, Relapse is iffy. Relapse, honestly, is iffy. Recovery has all-time great Eminem songs on there. Love the Way You Lie is on Eminem's like all-time, one of the all-time great Eminem songs.
I think it's a mainstream success, but I don't think it's one of his personal bests.
What? What?
It's a generic rap pop song.
No, Love the Way You Lie is one of the deepest songs he's written. That song is deep as ever. I don't think you need to go back and just listen to what he's saying on that. I think you would just try. I think you just haven't listened to it in a while.
I mean, I haven't because I don't want to listen to that.
Emotional on that, and he puts in the craziest bars and metaphors and punchlines, and he has some unbelievable features. Oh, honestly,
25 to Life and Spacebound were crazy. I think Cinderella Man is Mill's favorite track.
Cinderella Man is crazy.
Going Through Changes is dope.
Yeah, dude.
I don't really remember a lot of the
Recovery is fire. Complete fuego on Recovery.
We could go on talking about this forever, bro. Thank you,
but unfortunately, every podcast comes to an end, and that's the case for now. Once again, I'd like to thank Justice and Bermuda for joining me to discuss this week's podcast. Next week, we'll figure out the topic, but if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, tweet at us at eBosses or at our personal Twitters, our personal Facebooks. Keep in mind, Sunday is going to be a special podcast. We're going to reveal the website and maybe do some special podcasts with it. We'll figure that out and get the information for you guys real soon. But thank you once again for tuning in. We will see you soon.